And members, just for the record, today is Friday, October 12th. This afternoon we have Mr. Alan Fletcher appearing before this body relevant to Article 10, sole source contract for Saipan Development LLC. Good afternoon, Mr. Fletcher. Good afternoon, Deb and Rebecca. Mr. Fletcher, would you kindly raise your right hand, please? Sir, do you swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth? Can you press the button there?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. All right.
Got to retrain me after that.
Mr. Fletcher, again, just for the record, can you please state your name, your title, and the agency that you represent?
I'm Alan W. Fletcher, and I'm the Acting Executive Director for Commonwealth Utilities Corporation.
Thank you. Before we start, I just want to thank you for the materials that you provided. Primarily the materials that were requested by the Vice Speaker. Vice, just want to confirm that you were provided with a copy of the materials. Okay, thank you. And also, Mr. Fletcher, I know you have, you're a busy man. Also for the record, let you know that it was by request that you were asked to reappear before this body. So because the request was came from the Vice Speaker, I will turn over the floor to the Vice Speaker first to...
I will yield to any other member that want to start for now, Mrs. Chairman.
All right. Any other member want to start for now? Okay, maybe I'll start. I'll do the honors. Mr. Fletcher, first of all, thank you also for allowing Mr. Wallen Young Fong to be available for the committee. We were able to ascertain or rather to get his testimony on parts of the contract, the PPA. Yeah, and we realized that he really did not have much of a chance to review it, and so a lot of the sections or the provisions of the contract that we asked him to look at was he never really had the time to look at it prior to that. I think he was on vacation at the time when the what do you call this, the contract was being reviewed. I think he may have had communications with your office and also with economist.com on the maybe reviewing the preliminary report that economist.com eventually provided to CUC. But because he was an engineer, we took the opportunity to ask him about provisions of the contract that, you know, probably an engineer could better explain. And so certain things were made known to us, as primarily with regards to rates, how and what we would be responsible for. And there were several, the sections that we were able, that I asked relevant to the rates were articles, I believe that was 5.3 on page 17 of the contract. And that provision of the contract basically states that the plant shall be operated as a base load generating unit for the contracted capacity. So we talked a little bit about that. We even went into the definitions of what contracted capacity was. Something I got out of his testimony was that, you know, there are terms that are used in this contract, some of which may perhaps be the legal terminology, but it's not always what engineers would use. There are different terms that are used. And so we got some clarification from Mr. Wallen. We also looked at Article 6. We asked Mr. Fong to look at Article 6 and read Article 6.1, where it talks again about SDLLC agrees to sell electricity to CUC, and CUC agrees to take and pay for the contracted capacity and other electricity delivered to CUC. And then on section 6.3, it says SDLLC shall deliver the entire plant power output, net of plant usage in parentheses, to CUC. And it goes on to say that it's acknowledged that the plant shall operate as a baseload plant. And the clarification I recall Mr. Fong making was you don't use contracted capacity. He clarified that he said that is power, but we're not, can you clarify that, please? Can you, for the record?
Mr. Fong Young stated that with regards to a normal power purchase, we're not actually buying power, we're actually buying the energy that is produced.
Exactly, there you go. That's what he said. The capacity is the 50 megawatts. What we're buying is energy, measured in megawatts, I guess. But then, as we went on to the next section, the 6.1 to 6.3, it was then realized that that they shall deliver the entire power output and we shall buy it. Meaning we have agreed to purchase the entire capacity of 50 megawatts. And that was not clear to the body, to myself at least, prior to our discussion with Mr. Fong. And I guess I'll ask you a simple question. Were you aware of that? That the contract provides that we we'll have to buy the entire 50 megawatts and not necessarily just what we need. If we need 30, I thought we were just going to buy 30, but according to our discussion, even if we only needed 30, the contract requires that we buy all of the, I think the word is the entire plant power outfeed. Is that your understanding?
Thank you for the question. The sections you refer to on the contracted capacity, and then back on 5.3, I think it was, as you get into the dispatched instructions, is one of the issues that CUC consistently brought up during the discussion period on this, and that it was unclear. Now, first, I want to preface: I am not a power generation engineer, nor am I an attorney for commercial power purchase agreements to be able to fully interpret this contract. But my read of it is that this was a concern for CUC. We brought this up. I think in the discussions, that the dispatch instructions was an attempt to maybe get at that portion, but I'm not sure that it did.
Earlier, before Mr. Wong came before this body, I also read it similarly to how you read it. When I first looked at 5.3, they mentioned contracted capacity, and so I go down to the definition and looked at the definition, and it refers to, what do you call this? It refers to the anticipated dispatch and specifications. So I went down to the definition with Mr. Fong, and also looked at the definition for dispatch instruction, and it says that it means the rate of net electrical output specified from time to time in writing by SDL, CUC and SDL LC in accordance with specifications and this agreement. So we tried to look for, I found specifications in the contract under article in the earlier articles, and it it was under the drawings and designs, or drawings and it's in the earlier part of the contract, but then drawings and technical details, that's where the specification was on page 13. But when I read section 3.4 on the same page, it says that all those things would be provided to CUC 6 months after, up to 6 months after the signing of the contract. So obviously, we were unclear as to how this would work. But I think what caught Mr. Fong's attention was 6.1 and 6.3. 6.1 and 6.3 basically clarified that, regardless of what the other sections say about how much we can buy, these two sections basically states that we will buy all of the output. It kind of trumps everything else. And so this to me is one of the biggest issues regarding this contract, simply because this is in addition and on top of the guaranteed price, guaranteed payment, whatever that guaranteed, $636,091 that we have to pay. What I can't understand is if we have to pay the guaranteed price and on top of that pay for the operation and maintenance and lube and oil, and I think one of them is $1.91 per kilowatt hour. The lube and oil might be $1.53. 52 or 53. Anyway, if you combine both of them, it comes out to like 3.44 cents per kilowatt hour. If you have the guaranteed price plus we pay for 3.44 cents per kilowatt hour for 50 megawatts, if we're required to pay for 50 megawatts, I just wonder if anybody has looked at what that amounts to, and can we afford it? Would you like to say anything about that?
Well, I'm not able to draw a conclusion, but the issue of the contracted capacity and it creating a take and pay situation was brought up during the discussions consistently by CUC, and many times that was around the table with the negotiating team, the AGs that were involved in the project.
Thank you. Would you dispute though what I've just said?
The language of the contract is the language of the contract. I'm not an attorney, but with that, I think it shows that there may be some ambiguity and conflicting statements that would need to be ferreted out.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. I'll yield for now for any other members. We're going to take a short recess.